shopping, working, and relaxing online can attract various digital threats. To improve your protection against them, just turn on NordVPN. This cybersecurity app will block web trackers and malware-infected sites. It will also encrypt your internet traffic without losing a smooth connection. Get NordVPN now. NordVPN, cybersecurity built for every day.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm pleased to be joined by Lee Nicholls. We'll start with Catherine Hannah from BBC Radio Leeds.
Thank you very much. Afternoon, Lee. Back in the starting lineup at the weekend, how did it feel to return to that number one position?
It was good. You know, I've been itching to get back at it. It's been a long recovery, but it was good. It was good to get back out there with the lads, and unfortunately we couldn't get the win, but yeah, no, it was lovely personally to be back out there.
How patient have you had to be over the last few weeks, months?
Originally it went quite quick, the recovery, and we got to around middle of December and we thought we were there or thereabouts, but we had a little hiccup and we had to sort of take a step back and go back. But then since I've come back, it's been tough, obviously not playing. Every footballer wants to play, but you know, recently and while I was injured, the team was winning week in, week out, which makes it easier because ultimately I just want the team to win and the team to do well. So it was a little easier when I was out, but recently when we were getting beat, it is frustrating. But you know, I think Chappers stepped up to it and he made the shirt his own, and I was really proud of him. And even since I got put in Saturday, he's been different class all week in training.
I was going to say, does that create any awkwardness between you? Because it is such a small little group of you as goalkeepers, and inevitably there is that competition there when one of you takes over from the other. Is there any awkwardness about that?
No, I wouldn't say it's awkward. No, I think it's a respect that we both know we want to play. Even with Maxi, like all three of us want to play. But there is only one shirt at the end of the day, and whoever gets the nod, you know, we support each other, and that's the way it should be.
What did Michael Duff have to say to you during this more recent spell where you've been on the bench and having to bide your time?
He pulled me for a chat and just said, just keep going, just keep working hard. You know, it was never a chat of, you know, he's going to put me back in sooner or later. It was never like that. It was just keep working hard, keep doing your thing. But you know, I've said it before that, you know, I like to support the younger lads that are around me as goalkeepers. I think it's something that happened to me when I was a young lad, and it's something that I tried to do myself. And you know, I've worked with Chappers a long time, and I'd like to think I've helped them along the way. So it was a proud moment for me just to see Chappers do well for himself.
And I suppose it must be good to know that you are there on merit. Michael Duff always says no one has a God-given right to just walk into that team. Everybody has to earn their place. So you know that when you've come back in, it's because he wants you to be there. You've earned that, rather than it just being, well, you're the number one, you automatically go in irrespective of form.
Yeah, and I think the good thing for me is that I've come back from injury and I've had time to sort of get myself back up to sharpness and sort of work hard behind the scenes to sort of fine-tune my game to be ready to go back in. And I think that's down to Chappers doing so well as well. You know, I think maybe in the past I've maybe gone in a bit too quick as soon as I've come back, and maybe not helped the team out because I haven't been fully fit. But I feel like this time, with Chappers doing so well and the team doing so well, it's given me a bit of time to come back and really work hard behind the scenes to get up to match fitness.
And what exactly did you have done with the surgery? It was elbow, wasn't it? Is it something that you are conscious of, or is it all now you don't even think about it in the match day?
Yeah, so I've done my UCL, which is basically the MCL of the knee, which is quite a big one for outfield players. But now it's fully recovered. I think the hiccup we had in the middle of December was just, we just caught it and it just the swelling came back a little bit, but we got injected and it's totally fine now. I'm fully confident in it, and I feel like I'm there or thereabouts now. I feel like I'm getting back to how sharp I can be. There's still a few things I want to brush up on, but I'm more or less there.
You talk about the frustrations of watching on from the sidelines through the injury and then working your way back to full fitness. Where do you think it hasn't quite been clicking in recent weeks for the team?
I think we've just been unlucky. I think, you know, at times we've conceded really good goals. I think, you know, you go back to the Birmingham game, it's an unreal goal. you go back to the Northampton game, they scored 3 from outside of the box, which are all really good finishes. And you know, maybe we just haven't had the bounce of the ball, maybe, or maybe the little ricochet which we need. And I really do believe we're not far off. I feel like we need to just keep sticking together, just keep doing the right things, and hopefully we'll put a couple, we'll score a couple, and we can go on a run again.
That seems to be a recurring theme in recent weeks, that the chances either haven't particularly been created, or when they have arrived, they've not been put away. As a goalkeeper, how can you contribute to that? I mean, what's your remit in terms of delivering the ball out there from Michael Duff?
Yeah, I think it's our job at the end of the day to start attacks. You know, I think you can do it by quickening it up, you can do it by slowing it down, and maybe letting the lads set up and stuff. And you know, I think we have got a part to play in that. Yeah.
Yeah, and are you sort of consciously instructed to mix it up a bit, not always go long, watch what the opposition are doing in terms of the press, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I think that every manager tells us, and I think that's part of being a goalkeeper, of when you need to notice whether the press is coming a little bit more aggressive or whether they're sitting off a bit, and we can play underneath the press. And I think that's just part and parcel of being a goalkeeper.
Yeah. Leadership, mental strength as well through the more tricky times. Is that something that you feel that you can deliver as one of the more experienced members of the team?
Yeah, I've sort of tried to be a bit more, give a bit more confidence out recently. I think, you know, at times, I think I've been there myself, that players can get inside their own head sometimes. So I think recently it's just been about making sure we're all good, making sure we're training's done properly, and I feel like this week it's been a good week of training. I feel like we've worked on good things that we probably needed to work on, and it's been a really good week, yeah.
Yeah, is that sometimes the frustration that you feel like you've had a really good week, and then when it comes to match day, it's just not quite happening?
Yeah, I think that it happens to every club during the season. You know, you look at Liverpool recently, they've had a little stumble in the top of the league. It can happen in football. It's about how you stick together, and it's about how you sort of drive each other in training and come out the other side.
Yorkshire Derby this weekend, are these sort of matches that you particularly get up for?
Yeah, it's another game as a footballer, but you know, I think there is a little bit extra in these games, and especially with where we're at the minute, I think we need to go in there and go in to win the game. Ultimately, it's up to us. They're a good side, you know, they'll cause us problems, but it's up to us to win the game on the day.
Yeah, throughout the season it's been kind of an all or nothing. You go on fantastic winning streaks, unbeaten streaks, and then a few losses all come at once. Do you think it will just take our win, no matter how it comes, to set you back on that right path again? Hopefully,
but you never know with football. You know, we could win Saturday, and on Tuesday you can see 3 goals from outside the box again, which, you know, you ultimately you got no chance with. But it's up to us to just stick together. It's up to us to go out there and play as a team and fight for the badge ultimately, and try to come home with the 3 points.
And do you sense that confidence is still there, that top 2 is still attainable? Because it's quite a gap now to catch Wycombe in second, but a lot of football still to play.
Yeah, there is a lot of football still to play. I think it's up to us. We still got teams around us to play. I think we've got most of the teams we've got to play around us are at home. So it's, you know, we've still got the opportunity, but it's about taking one game at a time. You know, I don't think we can look at what's coming at the end of the season. I think we cannot look past Barnsley. They're a good side. They'll you know, if we're not on it, they can win the game. So it's about us going there and making sure that we don't look past them, and if we win the game Saturday, then it's on to Tuesday. And I think it's about taking one game at a time and go from there.
Brilliant. Good luck on Saturday. Thank you, Lee.
Cheers, Catherine. We'll just come to Stephen Chicken from Weir Terriers.
Hi there, good to see you.
Hello.
Speaking to the gaffer the other day about, you know, the change in mentality this season, that he feels like, you know, you've done well as a group, having to shift from, you know, battling it out to now being expected to be one of the better teams. Do you feel that comes with a different kind of... How does it differ as a player, that change in mentality?
I think personally it shouldn't differ. I think regardless of where you are in the table or in the in the league or expectations, I think you should go into every game trying to win the game. But I think ultimately it probably is different. I think with the expectation being there of you're expected to win every game. I think there is an added little bit of pressure, but it's something as a footballer that you need to embrace. It's something that you should look forward to, because you're doing the right things if you're expected to win every game.
Yeah, I mean, do you feel like there is is there a weight that comes with that for some players perhaps who haven't experienced it before?
I'm not sure. I don't feel like in this squad there is people that struggle with that sort of weight on the shoulders. I think we've all played enough games and we've all been around each other enough to know each other. And I think the squad's good. I just think maybe having had the rub of the green, and I think we are a good side, we are a good squad. It's just about sticking together. That's the only thing I can say. I think we'll get there in the end, and when we do, I think we'll become a good side again.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you. Going back to Chappers, you say he's been sort of top class in training this week, and as Catherine's touched on, you've had to fight for your place as well. Do you notice a difference in Chappers from the player we knew sort of 6 months ago? Now he's got this extra bit of experience under his belt now.
Yeah, I think I can see the difference since I got injured up until now. I think he's become. I think the biggest difference I've seen him is the confidence and the presence he now has when he's on the pitch. I think maybe I think he moved into the first team dressing room at the start of this season, and maybe he was still a bit quiet, didn't find his voice. But I think recently it's been really good to see him step up and have a voice and a lot more of a presence in training, which it's really nice to see.
And obviously you've had Maxi as well the past year or two, but is it helpful for you as a goalkeeper to have someone with that extra presence and extra voice on the training pitch alongside you? Yeah,
because I think I always say it that I think it's another person for me to learn from. Chappers has got some really, really good attributes that I think I can learn from, and it's good for me to have, because it's someone good. It's someone that pushes me day to day, including Maxi. Maxi played a lot of games and he's played at a really good level. So it is a really, really good competition.
That's all from me. Thank you. Best of luck for the weekend.
Cheers.
Cheers. We'll just come to Leon Mobshaw last from the Yorkshire Post.
Hi Lee, good to see you back. I suppose it's in your time at Huddersfield, it's usually been some pressure situation, hasn't it, in the final third of the season? But this is it's a good pressure, isn't it? I mean, you're aiming, hopefully, you could have a glorious day out at Wembley potentially at the end of the spring, and different sort of pressure to what you've been under the last few years.
Yeah, I think the first year we were here, we were in a similar situation where come the end of the season we were expected to win every game and we were pushing for the playoffs, and it is definitely the pressure I prefer of going into a game, having to win it and fighting to get promoted at the end of the day. I think that's the sort of pressure you want as a footballer.
Yeah, and I was thinking back of that sort of great escape, and you came in at the end of the Cardiff game. There's sort of magic moments there, isn't there? I mean, I know you've had your time out with the injury, but you're hoping for a few more of those, in the back end of the season. Yeah,
I'm just working hard. I think when I come back for the final 3 games, I worked hard behind the scenes to make sure I was ready and just try to make a difference in any way I could. And I think it's a similar situation now. I've been out for a long time, and it's just up to me now to try and make the difference for the lads and for the club and for the fans.
Yeah, you've got to embrace the pressure, haven't you? Really, I mean, even when you had the great escape, that's what sort of you did, really, wasn't it? That was part of it, and you all came together. You were obviously tense, but it got the best out of you.
Yeah, I think as a player you need to enjoy the pressure. I think when you retire and you're sat on your couch and you're 50, and I think they're the games, and they're that's the pressure that you'll miss, and that's the pressure that you'll remember for the rest of your life. So I think it's about stepping up in these moments now and ultimately doing the right things and sticking together.
Yeah. It's obviously for you in your situation. It's about getting your place back in the first team, and you've done that. But you've spoken about the young goalkeepers there, and Is it something that it sounds like you're passionate about it and helping them? Is it something further on in your footballing career, something along those lines? Coaching, mentoring that would maybe come into your head? Maybe.
I think it's something definitely that I'd consider. I think right now I'm focused on playing, but it is something. I think I'm passionate about it so much because people throughout my career who I have worked with who are older than me have played a massive part in my career and helped me along the way, that I think I owe it to the younger lads, and I owe it to them that I need to help the younger boys when coming through. Yeah,
no, I was just going to ask you finally, obviously a lot is made of the culture that Michael Duff has brought to the club, and in tough times you've got to draw on each other, and the dressing room's really strong, and that'll really come into its own now, won't it?
Yeah, I think towards the end of the season, I think a close dressing room makes a massive difference. I think it'll make a massive difference now from now to the end of the season, and we are together. It is a close group, and there is a hell of a lot of talent in that dressing room as well. We're going to get bodies back from the physio room, and I think it's all pointing in the right direction. It's just about us now going out there and putting performances on that the gaffer deserves and the fans deserve, and coming away with 3 points.
Okay, thanks for your time, Lee, and good to see you back.
Cheers, thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody. We'll be back shortly with head coach Michael Duff.
Cheers, thank you.
Shopping, working, and relaxing online can attract various digital threats. To improve your protection against them, just turn on NordVPN. This cybersecurity app will block web trackers and malware-infected sites. It will also encrypt your internet traffic without losing a smooth connection. Get NordVPN now. NordVPN, cybersecurity built for every day. shopping, working, and relaxing online can attract various digital threats. To improve your protection against them, just turn on NordVPN. This cybersecurity app will block web trackers and malware-infected sites. It will also encrypt your internet traffic without losing a smooth connection. Get NordVPN now. NordVPN, cybersecurity built for every day.
Joined by Michael Duff. We'll start with Catherine Hannah from BBC Radio Leeds.
Thank you very much. Afternoon, Michael. I suppose we always feel like we need to start with injuries. Where we're at, particularly with Ruben Ruskin, what's the latest on him?
Ruben saw a specialist in London yesterday, so relatively positive news. So we thought he might be the season. The scan looked really bad, but obviously when the experts get their hands on them and have a look, so it's still going to be out for a significant period of time, but we're looking at 2 to 4 weeks, I think. So hoping to sort of get him back on the grass as soon as possible. Like I said, the images didn't look great by all accounts, so that is a bit positive. Rhys Healey had surgery yesterday, so he was in London as well, so that will probably be him for the season. Nigel Lonwink is on the grass, so he's probably the next one that will be back in. Obviously Cass is back on the pitch now and back available. Mikael Miller's on the grass. He's still a long way away. His was a significant bit of surgery, but it's just nice to see him around. Joe Taylor's on the grass, not with the physio still. So there are positive signs of people coming back, but there'll be nothing for the weekend.
Okay. With Joe, I was going to get an update on him, because I think originally it was 4 to 6 weeks. Are you still looking at that kind of timescale?
Yeah, well, there's obviously been quite a lot going on in the last couple of weeks, so it's. I've not. He's on the grass with the physios. We've not seen him. He's not been for any part of training, so he's still got a little bit of load and the box ticking exercises that they need to do, because what we can't afford is people that are coming back. We can't afford for them to break down again.
Next up, Barnsley then, always an entertaining Yorkshire derby. I think when you played them earlier in the season, we talked about are there similarities between the two clubs in terms of expectation and where you're at. Do you still feel that you're in a fairly similar position with them?
I think we're both on dicky runs. We've both gone 5 without a win, I think it is. So I think our concentration is us. We haven't won in 5. I think there's been a couple of really poor performances in there, and a couple of really tight ones where I don't think we deserved to lose the game. Didn't do enough to win the game. I thought Saturday we didn't do enough to win the game. So in terms of Barnsley, from my experience at Barnsley, I had a great year there. I don't want to go over it all over again. I had a brilliant rapport with the supporters. Really enjoyed my time there. Water under the bridge. So if I get a bit of stick, I get a bit of stick. If I don't, I don't. I'm more focused on us and what we do, and being a little bit more aggressive. We'll be as aggressive as we can without the ball, which we always are. And then can we be a little bit more aggressive, like we were the first 30-35 minutes against Reading. I thought we were really good, got on the front foot, and that's where we want it to look.
Do you feel like you learned a lot from your time as Barnsley manager, and are there any experiences during that time that you can draw on now?
Yeah, you always learn. You learn from everything, every experience that you have. It was at the time it was a jump. It was going into an unknown. The one club I'd been at, I'd familiar for. I've had 2 clubs up until that point. In 28 years or something silly. So I think the rebuild that we did there was really good. Like I said, we tied it all up. You learn experiences. I've said it before, said it again. It was a mistake leaving, but you live and learn. You can't live in the past. I'm at a really, really good football club off the back of that. So if I'd have never moved, I'd never been here, possibly. So my focus is here. I think we've got a really good opportunity. There's loads of work to be done. There's been some good work that's gone on. Football doesn't go in a straight line, and a rebuild doesn't happen in a couple of months. So it's just focusing on what we need to still improve on, which there are lots of things we still need to improve on, because I think I'm at a football club now where there are huge expectations. rightly so, because we're a big football club, but having expectation and the reality of where you're actually at sometimes are two different things. So we just need to keep chipping away and getting back to whether it's digging results out or playing more free-flowing football, probably faster football rather than a bit too slow at times, which has been a fault of ours, to go and get more wins.
It's something that Darryl Clark's touched on this week, that the expectation that goes with that difference in finances. Barnsley maybe not as fortunate to have as much cash in the bank potentially as Huddersfield Town have got at their disposal, but does that bring its own challenges, because there is that perception where you've got loads of money to throw at it, so you should be right up there?
Well, I think with the players that we've got, we should be up and in around it. I think the shift in expectation is we have a really tricky start of the season with lots of things going on. Again, don't want to keep repeating myself, but you get to within 4 points of the top two with a game in hand. You sign 2 centre forwards, and everyone thinks, "Oh, that's it then. That's it. You're done. You win 4-0 every week and get promoted." Football doesn't work like that, and sometimes players have to deal with expectation, and some players can, some players can't, and that's at every football club. And I always remember I met Ben Foster completely on a tangent, but I met Ben Foster at a wedding once when he was at Man United. He said he hated it because the expectation to win every day, every training session, every match, 75,000 there every week, and he didn't like it. No, he was a top goalkeeper, but as you go up the levels, that's why the best of the best to stay at that level. You see so many players that they sign the big contract and they call the Jets, but the best just keep going no matter what, money, accolades, lifestyle, they get it all, but they just keep going. So coming back to us, our players that need to be able to handle 20,000 fans demanding an owner that's demanding. It's part of the job. Pressure, because otherwise go and play non-league football in front of 400 people. No one wants to do that. They want to play at the top level, but again, reality and expectations sometimes are two different things.
How is morale at the moment?
The morale's good. There's possibly a little bit of confidence, but the morale in the team's good. It's without hiding behind it, we just come off 4 months without getting beat. So if morale was to fall apart in 4 games, then you have got a problem. The morale hasn't been the problem. The confidence is probably the main thing that I would say. And sometimes, again, talking about playing at home in front of expectant fans is difficult sometimes. And that's not a criticism of the fans. We've said all along, it's our job to get them off their seats. And we haven't done that enough in the last 3 or 4 home games particularly. Like I said, I thought the start, how aggressive we were in the last home game was a positive. We changed the shape, which was a positive. So we're constantly searching. And you've got, Dion's desperate to get off the mark, and certain players have gone a little bit of time without a goal. So there might be a little bit of a confidence thing there, but no, morale's not a problem.
I was going to ask you about Dion, and yes, he's clearly at a new club. He's desperate to impress, really wants to get that first goal under his belt. How do you work with him? Is it something that maybe Martin Patterson works with him on particularly, or how do you work with him to try and maybe to get him to chill out a bit and not overthink it, if you like?
That's the balance. It's coaching. It's spending time in the classroom without creating this big issue that might not be there. He scored goals during his career, so I think we showed 11 examples on Saturday at Reading where the ball gone across to the face of goal. So, and they're not classed as shots and they're not classed as chances, because nothing but people should be on the end of those types of balls, and to have 11 in a game is a lot. So it's education, it's trying to build relationship, and when he's got the ball he's going to do that, when he's got the ball he's going to do that, so you might have to adjust your runs. I'm putting your arm around. We don't think he's become a bad player. I think I said it in a forum in the week, we've not seen Joe, and I think everyone was pretty excited when we got Dion. So our job is to support. And as I said, seasons are like that. They're ups and downs. So from a coaching point of view, we've got to stay pretty level-headed, stay consistent in the way that we work. We don't get too emotional. They weren't in on the Sunday running 8 miles after the Northampton game. Well, that's what you feel like doing, but all it does, it makes me feel better. It's not the right thing to do. The same as when we did have a good run, we weren't lording it up and popping champagne bottles when we won a couple of games. And that's what I think the most important part of my job is supporting and caring for them, because they've all got their own lives. They've all got stuff going on at home as well, which sometimes supporters don't see. You know, they just see a number and a name on the back of a shirt, and because they're wearing that badge, it's like, right, I'm going to give it him if he's not doing it, which is that's what they pay the money for. So, and it's not just Dion. You know, he's been brought in to score goals. Clearly, that's his position. But we need to make sure that we're getting into the right areas. We need to make sure that the balls are going into certain areas, and then we need to make sure that him or someone else is on the end of them. And that's been the work that's been going on this week.
Final one, Darryl Clark at his press this week talked, they are looking into the free agent market, and there was a possibility they might have brought somebody in before Saturday's game. Whether that person arrives or is able to play is another matter, but it just made me wonder whether the free agent market was something that you were in any way looking at, given the injuries that you've had to contend with.
No. The squad's big enough. Because ultimately, hopefully when everyone does get back, you'll end up... We've got a competitive squad. You know, to be in the position that we're in with the amount of injuries that we've had shows that we've got a squad. So I think bringing in, I suppose I've not really had a conversation about it, but I think bringing in another player who would be unfit wouldn't be the answer to where we're at the minute, because we've got enough unfit players. So hopefully we can get the ones that are ours at the minute to add to what we already have, because we are low on numbers.
Good luck on Saturday. Thank you.
Cheers, Catherine.
Cheers, Catherine. We'll just come to Stephen Chicken from Riyadh Terriers next.
Hi, Michael. Good to see you. Just to check, because obviously I wasn't here on Saturday. Matty Pearson, was that just a squad selection thing that he wasn't in the squad on Saturday?
No, Matty's out for 6 weeks probably. Pulled his calf. Bit of a strange one, to be honest. Trained Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. Came in Friday morning, said he felt his calf was sore. Sent him for a scan and had a significant tear in his calf. So, from our point of view and the medic's point of view, we don't know when it happened or how it happened, and he doesn't seem to know when it happened either. So it was a bit of an odd one, really, because there's a mechanism or there's some sort of feeling, sensation where they go. So whether it's been a progressive thing or whether I don't know, but it was another injury. Yeah, it wasn't a squad selection thing.
Okay, I mean, does that influence the way you think about your shape? But I suppose you could still, if you wanted to, play Brodie there. Is it just another factor?
Yeah, it's you're constantly searching, and with the injuries, that's the main thing of the frustration of the injuries is you're not only losing good players, but you're constantly having to rejig things, whether that's a shape or whether that's a setup in certain situations. So, Matty brings different qualities to other people. So when he's not involved, then the 11 that you're going to pick, what qualities do they have, and then try and find a solution, try and find a system that works for the players that are available.
I thought on Saturday, a lot of the work, the first 2/3 was quite positive. You could see it was very one touch, two touch. It was speeding it up, which I know you've talked for a while. You wanted to see that speed. Is it, as you say, is it just that confidence in the final third is the issue, and learning each other and, knowing who's going to make which runs? Yeah,
I think so. I think, like I said, we had 16 shots, but from the wrong areas. So some of that was a little bit of confidence, some of that's a little bit of desperation, people trying to get off the mark when there was an opportunity to upgrade a pass, upgrade a cross, showing 10 or 11 examples of the ball flashing across the face of goal, and not populating certain areas of the box. So yeah, I think it's from the coaching point of view, is without putting too much on the players, you can't give them every solution. I thought we looked a lot better, a lot more aggressive. And then it's you need people to find the bit of quality, whether it's a pass, whether it's a cross, whether it's making the right run, whether it's scoring out of nothing like Joe Taylor did against Blackpool. It wasn't worked on or anything like that. It was just a little bit of combination play and a touch finish. Not every goal was worked on. And at the minute, when we have been scoring goals, it feels like we're almost having to score really, really good goals. There hasn't been many scruffy ones. Or out of the blue like that one. So yeah, that's the last part that's the confidence zone, if you want to call it. That is the go and express yourselves and show you why you want to play at that top end of the pitch.
With Joe out and Reece out, and obviously Bojan's gone, Freddie Ladapo's back in the squad and got another chance. I don't want to single him out because he was far from the only one on Saturday who didn't take the chances when they were there. But do you feel, there were times when he got into the right positions, it looked like he could have done more. Do you still feel confident there's a player there you can get something out of?
That's the job. The job is to get the best out of the players that are here. I've said it loads of times. It's really, really easy to sit and moan and I haven't got this, I haven't got that, I haven't got this, I haven't got that, he's not available. My job is to try and improve the players and make them better. Freddie's our player, so we brought him in, so we need to try and work with him every day, and again it's the same as the Dion situation, and try and find what works best for him and try and help him, because it's the easiest job in football is to criticise, because I'm a brilliant player now because I don't play. So I can sit and go, you should do this and you should do that, and that's easy and that's easy. And I get that's what supporters do as well, because you've got 20,000 experts in the stadium. And it is easy to criticise, it's a human trait. So the job is to support, to try and give confidence. And hopefully something drops, whether it goes in off his backside or something like it might be one of those that, because he scored goals, he's got 100 league goals in his career. He's not an unknown. So, and sometimes you end up doing the wrong thing by trying to do the right thing or being so desperate to do well. Freddie comes in and works hard every day, and that's why you want him to do well. Because if he came in and just went through the motions and he wasn't really bothered, we wouldn't invest the time in him. But they've all been good. Like I said, previous question, the morale in the team has been good. So it's just trying to help, support, because he's frustrated. We're frustrated. The supporters were frustrated. Clearly, you get that. You sense that. But that's where it's important that you take the emotion out of it. You keep calm, and it's either right or it's wrong. He does the coaching sessions, and then ultimately it's up to Freddie. You can only support them so far. Then it's up to the player to step up, and that's what he's going to need to do.
Barnsley also come into this game looking a bit out of sorts. Does that change the challenge in front of you at all as a manager when you're preparing? Do you look at form? Does it change the way you think about things, or not really?
No, because form can change quickly, as we've seen. And we lost 7 out of 8, then went 4 months unbeaten. Now 1 win in 5 or 6 or 7. So football changes quickly. I think where we've been in the last 2 or 3 weeks, particularly, we need to focus on us. Be respectful as always. Be aware that we're coming against a team that have got playoff expectations themselves. Aware of a manager that's prepared to change things. I'm fully aware of some of the players that are there that can hurt you. But it's the main focus this week is on us and how we can improve and how we can get back on a winning run.
That's all for me. Thank you.
Cheers, Steve.
Cheers, Steve. We'll just come to Leon Lobshaw from the Yorkshire Post last.
Hi, Michael. Good to speak to you as always. I mean, the same football's things come round pretty quickly. I mean, it's a little bit of a similar scenario to the autumn where you both of you are heading to it and in a bit of a sticky period of form, and you got that win and you turned it round, mate. Sort of a catalyst in your season, and I suppose that's the aim again, isn't it? Well, for both of you, and certainly for Town, really, because you got that win and you it sort of propelled you, didn't it, for the rest of the autumn?
The objective is to try and win the game. It's we don't worry about the second, third, and fourth win until you've got the first one. So we need to get back on the winning trail. We're not stupid. We're not naive enough to think that we can just keep losing and drawing our way to the end of the season, because you're not going to get to where you want to get to. So the main focus has been on us. It's been energising the group. Well, there is quality in there, we know that, and it is trying to win the first half first and foremost, but trying to win the next game. And if it doesn't, we'll do the same thing. I've always said it. I've always worked the same way, no matter what level I've been at, whether it's League 2, League 1, the Championship. 4 different teams, I've always worked the same way, and as a general rule it's been successful. There's no guarantees in football, obviously, but I think it's the right thing to do, and I said a million times that it's either right or it's wrong. So now we'll be focused on us and how we impact the game and how we can win the game rather than relying on a referee decision. If it is that, it's great, rather than the form of the opposition or the opposition injuries or their bad luck or whatever. It's focusing on as positive as you can with the realisation of where we're at. It's not blind faith. It's not that we keep we go, come on guys, we'll be all right. That isn't the case at all. There is a reality to the situation that we're in, but it's staying positive, because I think we've got some good players, and I think we're a good team, and can be a good team. And I think there's so much more to come from the team, with injuries and players coming back, and from the mentality side of the group, I think that's already in a better place. So it's just trying to stitch it all together.
I suppose psychologically it could be particularly important for a lot of reasons. There's players going back to former clubs. There's some players for Barnsley used to play for Huddersfield. You're going to have a full away end, and you've been a few without a win. It could be one of those sort of bellwether games in the season potentially.
Well, hopefully, that's what we're hoping for. The last away game was really, really disappointing.
Of course.
It looked nothing like us, to be honest. At home, we've fallen down for different reasons, but it's really disappointing, particularly when you go into an away end and you're going over to clap and you've let them down. It's a disappointing feeling, not only for yourselves but for the supporters as well. So they've been fantastic, to be honest. So we owe them a performance, particularly away from home, and at home, to be honest. So yes, there's loads of subplots. There always is. There's even physios that are going back there that used to be at Barnsley as well. So
forgot about that.
Yeah, hopefully they'll get the stick and not me, and I know no one will notice me on the sideline. But I don't care what happens. Like I said, I've got a lot of respect for the football club. And if I get stick, I get stick. It's par for the course when you're in my job. It won't take away my feelings for the club, but we want to go and try and win the game. And if we do win the game, be respectful. Get in, get out. Try and win the next one after that.
I was just sort of thinking about. Obviously, I covered a bit of this season. It was a great season at Barnsley, and you had one or two injuries, but it was nothing. This is the polar opposite, isn't it? There's just disruption by the week, and it was relatively smooth in comparison at Barnsley, and it just proves how different it can be, really.
Yeah, I think it's, without living in the past, I don't want to go over and over and over it, but I think the main thing, like I said, about this season is it's just constant disruption. I don't know how many times we've picked the same 11. Not many, I know that, and not through choice. There's normally having to change the team because of something, and then we talked about chemistry and relationships and all this. It's difficult when the team. I know they all train together every day, but when you're chopping and changing a lot, it is difficult. Which is why when you see cup competitions, sometimes when the team changes quite a lot, it's not a very fluid performance. That's getting enforced on us quite, almost week to week. Again, without making excuses, it's part of the challenge. So embrace the challenge, work hard enough, and hopefully, if you work hard enough, you get the rewards at the end of the season, because that's when it matters, at the end of the season, not in any moment during the season.
You've touched on it briefly there. I mean, there's you're going back to a former club, but there's enough water's gone under the bridge now, hasn't it? It's nearly been 2 years, and you'd like to think the supporters at Barnsley, it was still a memorable season, wasn't it? It was a short period in your career, but it was pretty memorable.
It was a good season. We went from there to there, ended on a disappointing note, but one of my proudest moments was getting clapped off at Wembley, having just been beat. But you played with 10 men for 75 minutes and had 2 VAR decisions that went against you. And that will never leave me. And again, supporters have always got the entitlement and the right, because they pay the money, to give people stick, to clap or to boo. I'm not in control of that. It won't change my feeling towards the football club. It won't take away a really, really enjoyable year of my life. And I've had quite a lot of success in my career, and that was one of my favourite seasons that I've had. So all those things will never change. So hopefully, like I said, one way or the other, I'll shake Daryl's hand. Hopefully we've won the game. If we haven't, you wish him all the best and we crack on.
I think obviously the game is going to be competitive, intense. You'll both be desperate to win to sort of end the sort of run you're on. I suppose it's about keeping your head as well, isn't it? Because there's a lot at stake. There's a bit of an edge on this one, and be committed, but sort of use your heads as well.
Yeah, derbies are all the same. It's sort of it's playing with a little bit of fire, but keeping cool heads. Because as much as sometimes people think wiring into someone and getting sent off is brave. Yeah. That's not brave. Brave's taking the ball in a tight area. Yeah. Brave's stepping up and going, I'm going to be the one that's beat a man and pick the right pass. That's bravery. Smashing someone in the face and getting sent off doesn't help anyone. It might think that's how to sort of impact the game, but it isn't. So that's what we want. We want to go there. We want it to be a local derby. Well, it is a local derby. We want a feel like a local derby. We want players to get on the front foot. We want energy. We want passion, and we want quality. So it's without being reckless. And sometimes you never know with these games. Sometimes they could be complete ball fests where it literally is the ball's up in the air for the whole game, or they can be end to end ding dong battles. We don't know how it'll end up. We just want 3 points at the end of it ultimately.
Yeah, I was going to ask you finally about Freddie. Stevens touched on it. I mean, he's obviously, he may get a bit of a chance with 1 or 2 injuries again. He's coming from the cold, I suppose, almost, and he's trying his hardest. If he does get a big goal, and that'd be a big goal for him, obviously, but potentially in terms of your season as well, wouldn't it? And he'd certainly be a popular one by the sound of it in the dressing room as well.
You just want your players to do well. You want it for him. He's and he'll be a popular guy. He's a popular member of the group, and he's worked hard. And like I said, you hope that when people work hard, they earn a bit of credit, they earn a bit of luck. And football's football. It changes quickly. 1 minute you're out of a club, 1 minute you're in a club, 1 minute you're out of the squad, the next one you're starting a game. So it's about opportunity, but it's also up to the players to take opportunities as well. So it's probably when we've had loads and loads of so many injuries, probably the one thing we haven't had is enough people claiming the shirt. So it's like it's mine. I don't care who's fit, who's not. It's my shirt. So there's there are missed opportunities there. Freddie's just another example. If he gets on the pitch, or when he gets on the pitch, it's up to him to implement the things we want him to do, and then go and express himself for his own glories.
Yeah. Best of luck as always, Michael, on Saturday. Thank you.
Cheers, Leo.
Cheers, Leo. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Shopping, working, and relaxing online can attract various digital threats. To improve your protection against them, just turn on NordVPN. This cybersecurity app will block web trackers and malware-infected sites. It will also encrypt your internet traffic without losing a smooth connection. Get NordVPN now. NordVPN, cybersecurity built for every day.